This is one of the semifinal matches that we had in our Cornerstone event in Portland, Oregon. Played at FAB Foundry. At the top of the screen is Domnic playing Druid deck. At the bottom of the screen is Kellen playing an Archimago deck. For this tournament, we did do second player Seer rules, and we did do a top cut, so you're watching the top 8 finals here on this game. Archimago is a deck that Kellen has had a lot of experience playing against, and also has been, I think, playing it for a little bit in preparation for the Cornerstone. Domnic choosing to go first, Kellen taking a Seer on the sights, and I think he saw a step and decided to keep it. Turn 1 for Dom, playing a Ruins, summoning Tawny, passing turn. Kellen drawing a spell for turn, Ruins as a first sight and passing. Ideally, in kind of a perfect world, I think Domnic is hoping for to get an aggro start on curve with his Druid deck, and then to just continue to apply pressure to get the Archimago player to the door as fast as possible, trying to get him down before he can make use of those divine heals and possibly get under before he has a chance to draw into the Craterizes in the deck. The Archimago deck that Kellen is playing is a pretty standard meta version of Archimago. Second sight with Dom, he's got a windmill up there. He's got a lot of threshold options, which is nice. Second sight for Kellen looks like a step. So both of them getting a lot of thresholds on the board early here. Domnic surprisingly playing to the side for his second sight. I was assuming he was going to meet in the middle as fast as possible with Archimago. I don't think it's very beneficial, in my opinion, to delay and play defensively with Archimago like this. Yeah, I think that's better. That's a better placement for the Root Spider if he's going to be defensive with the Root Spider. The thing is that for Archimago, he's not running a ton of minions in the deck. There's a lot of spells in the deck. That's where Archimago generates a lot of its power. The minions that it does have, I mean, I think that there's Kettle Tops in there on the bottom end, and that's typically it. Then also maybe some Root Spiders as well are pretty common in a meta version of Archimago deck. And then at the top end, you're probably seeing like vampires, and I'm trying to remember what else typically goes in there. I think it's usually just vampires that go in there to take advantage of the life gaining from the strikes. The ultimate goal is to just stall out the game as much as you can. Get the spells in the grave, like get value out of recursion from all of your magic spells in the cemetery, and then get to a point in the board where a Craterize basically seals the game for you. Domnic continuing to play very defensively, and I'm not entirely sure what he's scared of this early from Archimago. Archimago has a lot of a lot of the spells are cheap cycle spells. They're removal spells and damage spells. He's going to get them off if he wants to. I believe there's two magic spells in his cemetery right now. He did Common Sense. I think he Common Sensed for a Common Sense, just to fill the cemetery. Start getting spells in there. He's got 3. Excuse me. He's got a Blink in there as well. He's just Common Sensing for another Common Sense. He's just choosing to load up the cemetery with magic spells to kind of prime it. So if he gets another spell in there that he actually wants to bring back, he has all the fodder to do it. Passing turn back to Dom. I mean, I feel like it's a little unusual to have the unicorn all the way back there, to play it so far back. He can't even really attack with it on this turn if he wanted to. He would need something like a warhorse to push it forward, or to carry it forward in order to do that. And I think that it's better to start applying that pressure onto the Archimago player sooner rather than later, just forcing them to make those turns, start spending their cards. You don't want them to keep accumulating cards in their hand. I mean, they're going to end up in the cemetery sooner or later, no matter what. There's just not a lot you can do about that. You just kind of hope that you can apply more pressure than they have immediate answers for, and they don't draw into their key cards like Divine Heal, like Crater Eyes later in the game. Dom flipping early for Bruin, and then going on the defensive with an attack with Tawny and an attack with the Saracen Raider. So 4 points in. Another thing that you can do with helps with a little bit with Archimago is trying to spread out your minions as much as possible on the board. There's only so much you can do, given like where the board is, and kind of early game, mid game. It just depends on where the site spread is, but it can help mitigate removals, such as Earthquake, or even a Poison Nova if the board has developed that far. You can go that wide on it. Casting that magic missile to remove the Saracen. Tapping for a Windmill brings his mana base to 5. Like a Dapril Vampire. Moving Barone to the side, swinging for another point of damage. I think that was all of his mana, so he's got a pass turn. Back to Kellen. Kellen looks like tapping for a sight. So he's got 5 sights down. He's going to Pillars of Zyros, and that should banish the Saracen. We'll ping him up a point. Playing that Common Sense from his hand again to get it into the cemetery. Searching for a berry, burying the vampire. It's another thing that the Archimago decks do really good. They have a lot of answer cards for threats that hit the board, and they can do things like Common Sense into Barry very effectively. Dom drawing a spell. I think that's a grapple shot. Looks like he might have pulled. I'm still not 100% sure on what the what his theory is with having Bruin and the unicorns so far back, out of attack position, in a defensive posture on the back row. Personally, I would want like a 4-power minion attacking every turn it can, forcing the Archimago player to make a decision about how to remove it. He's got that berry in the cemetery now, so he does have that option to recast from cemetery. And if he does something like, if he chooses to do that to say like bury the unicorn, then Domnic has got no value out of that unicorn for the game. Like, it's essentially just like he paid 4 mana for it to sit there and then get removed. Bringing the root spider up to the surface. And then paying for a grapple shot to Archimago for 2 points of damage. And then attacking with taunting and then passing. So he is getting some damage in. We haven't seen a divine heal from Kellen yet. I can't see his hand, so I don't know if he has one in his hand or not. He's within the range now where he can like min-max the divine heal if he chooses to play that out. 6 mana. 6 mana for a Grandmaster Wizard. Drawing 2 cards, passing turn. Passing back to Tom. I mean, one of the things that Dom could have done the previous turn, instead of ordering the root spider up first, is he could have instead just moved the unicorn back to the home site and then grappled the unicorn if he wanted to push in an extra 2 points of damage with that and get the unicorn into attack position. But he still seems really invested in keeping that unicorn on the back row in a defensive posture. Tawny attacking to remove the Grandmaster. Root Spider attacking for 2 points of damage. Blinking his Druid over to share sight with Bruin and the Unicorn. Tapping for Postern Gate. And then attacking for 4 points of damage. And resummoning Tawny onto the site. It's an interesting play. So obviously that was why he wanted to posture that far back. To get a surprise strike in. So really like an interesting strategy, an interesting play from Dom. The only thing that would have made it better is if he somehow managed to close the gap even further, or if the stars had aligned and 8 points would have been enough to strike him to door. It puts a lot of pressure on Kellen. It forces him to have a response back. He's got all the mana in the world now. He played that tower. So he's got 8 mana for the turn. 8 mana for a Death Dealer to clean board. So the Death Dealer is going to remove everything, unfortunately. And that's the play. But Dom's still in a pretty good position. I think he's running some charge minions. If he manages to have like a red cap, he can red cap in for door from on that Postern Gate. And excuse me, the Postern Gate belongs to Kellen as well. So Kellen had like 9 mana on that turn. That was a ton of mana. So Dom at this point, sitting with 6 mana in his mana pool. If he could get 5 mana for the Earthquake, repositioning, forcing Archimago forward. I think he wants to get him into. He wants to get him into a checkmate position where it's going to be more difficult to get away from him. The Druid is flipped at this point. Attacking with another point of damage. Bringing him at 2. He's really close to getting him to door, and like he just needs to get him to door before Kellen has a chance to draw into something that'll let him stabilize. Like I think like a ring to start pinging up, or a divine heal, which would be probably worst case scenario for Domnic at this point, or maybe a Dapril Vampire if Domnic wasn't able to draw an answer to do another 2 points next turn. There's the Dapril Vampire. So that is going to set Dom back slightly unless he has a spell in his hand, like a damage spell, or is able to draw a damage spell. Looks like Kellen common sensing for a grapple shot. It's a Dapril Vampire was 5, common sense 2 for 7. I don't think he can get out you can't get the grapple shot off of this turn, right? So he had 8 mana. So he like grapple shot's 3 mana to cast. I think he's 1 short. He's just moving away from the Druid to create more space. Domnic, like almost in top deck mode. I think he only has one card in his hand, and he really needs a way to bring Kellen to door now, before the vampire can go off on the next turn. He's choosing to move the Druid forward. Choosing to play the Warhorse onto step and then attacking in for the last 2 points of damage. So he managed to get at the door, which is huge. Kellen, I mean, he has the grapple shot in his hand for the vampire. The vampire can no longer swing 8 points of life on this turn since he's at door. You can't heal when you're at door. 8-point swing with the vampire with a grapple shot would have been huge. And he's got a ring in his hand too, so Kellen taking a step back with his avatar. Looks like he was considering playing that ring. Kellen pointing out that the Warhorse isn't allowed to charge when it's summoned to the step because it is within range of the pebbled path he has. So Domnic, I think, was trying to switch the Warhorse to the Funeral Pyre. It would run into the same problem where it would lose charge there. I think he had one legal play that he could have made with the Warhorse still. It would have been like the Ruin to the other Ruin, which would be out of range of the charge. But I believe what happened there is that because this is a pretty competitive game, and the winner of the Cornerstone gets a sealed box of Dragonlord, Kellen opted to enforce the like a no takebacks on the illegal play, to basically say that it was summoned to the step. We'll just leave it where it was, but it's not going to do the damage because you can't attack. I don't know if that's like exactly how it would choose to be rolled back by the judges in larger events. I don't think they didn't call RTO or judge over for this specific play or decision. They just kind of talked it out amongst themselves and decided board state from there. So it's an interesting question, like how you would choose to roll it back, or if you were a judge, how you would enforce rolling it back. Since Kellen already started his turn, drew cards, things like that, gained new information with the game and changed the board state. Would you, as a judge, say it's too late at that point and you've already made that play, you've already moved past that play, or would you say the horse has to go back to the step and it's just going to be at the step? It's going to be summoned at the step, but it's not allowed to. Obviously, it wasn't allowed to use the move and attack ability on the turn because it lost charge. Or would you just say he can roll it back and he can choose any other legal site that he wanted to for that play? Kellen stabilizing with this game quite handily. I mean, he got the ring out. He's got the leprechaun on the table doing work. The vampire doing a ton of work for him. Obviously, like I said, he started swinging with that vampire, gaining the life off of that thing, and then locking the postern gate down with a root spider under it. So the tables have turned pretty hard for Dom here, just from that misplay. Honestly, when you're playing Archimago and Archimago is allowed to stabilize like this, it is incredibly difficult to get them down again and come back again. And unfortunately, yeah, Dom had to pass turn again. He's got that vampire there. I believe I think he recast the vampire, the grapple shot, swung vampire for door again. A reposition move with a move on the leprechaun. And he is set up for more or less a checkmate here on this next turn. Dom now at door. Dom now at door and within range of Archimago on death's door with the ring. There's not a lot of wiggle room out of here. He would need the minimum. He would need a warhorse to move his druid out of range of Archimago from just casting a spell to ping him to death. But also you'd have to get into a position where the leprechaun, kettletop leprechaun can't get him, or the Dapper Vampire can't get him. and he doesn't have. I mean, he doesn't have a ton of mana to make that happen with any combination of cards here. I mean, I think he's still sitting at 5 mana. Six mana? 6 mana at this point. He was at a mana disadvantage, right? Because he played the Postern Gate, which is like, it's essentially giving your opponent a sight, with the benefit being that presumably the Postern Gate is in a position that was going to allow you to just attack in. Dom decided to concede because he can't see a way out from getting pinged by the ring on the next turn. So the game will go to Kellen. Pretty close, a real nail biter there at the end. Really unfortunate for Dom about that misplay with the Warhorse. It happens, and kind of an interesting judging question in terms of how would you handle a situation like that if it was in your tournament. So that was the semifinal match, and we'll move on to the finals next.